Minister for Finance Prakash Charan Mahat has unveiled a budget of 1,751 billion rupees for the upcoming fiscal year 2023-24 at the joint meeting of the Federal Parliament today. The government has allocated the highest portion of the budget of 197 billion rupees to the Ministry of Education. The government has informed that the economic growth rate would be 6% and inflation would be limited to 6.5%. Good evening, I'm Sarah Sapsanama. Let's begin with the headlines of the hour. Minister for Finance Prakash Charan Mahat unveils a budget of 1.751 trillion rupees for the upcoming fiscal year, which is 42 billion rupees less than the current budget. Disputed MPs Development Fund revived in the upcoming budget, 20 corporations dismissed, budget gives priority to agriculture and tourism, opposition accuses of not incorporating people's aspirations. 16th Republic Day celebrated by organizing various programs, Premier the House says unity and cooperation needed among political parties and the public in institutionalizing republicanism. And Kumaltar Youth Club comes from behind to register 2-1 win over Himalayan Sherpa Club in the Martyrs Memorial A Division League. The government has made public a budget of 1,751.31 billion rupees for the upcoming fiscal year 2023-24. This is 2.37% or 42 billion rupees less than the current budget. A budget of 1.793 trillion rupees was appropriated for the current fiscal year. However, this budget is 16.37% higher than the budget reduced by the government 4 months ago due to financial slump. The government has informed that the economic growth rate would be 6% and inflation would be limited to 6.5%. The government has shut down 20 public corporations to cut down on current expenses. Finance Minister Mahat informed that all types of encouragement allowances and additional allowances have been scrapped to lower expenses. The Finance Minister also said that the government will not purchase new vehicles, will not construct new buildings, and the government has also decreased the development budget to 302.07 billion rupees. The development budget was 380 billion rupees last year. Finance Minister Mahat informed that the budget will be implemented using the collected revenue of 1.248 trillion rupees. As the revenue collection target was met during the current fiscal year, the government will be lowering the target for the upcoming fiscal year. The government had set the revenue collection target at 1.448 trillion rupees for the current fiscal year. The government has also lowered the target of foreign aid. Foreign aid target for the current fiscal year was 55 billion rupees, while the target for the upcoming fiscal has been set at 49. The government has allocated the highest portion of the budget of 197 billion rupees to Ministry of Education. However, budgets for the Ministry of Physical Infrastructure and the Ministry of Energy have been reduced. Meanwhile, the MPs Development Fund, which was scrapped in the fiscal year 2021-22 by then Finance Minister Bishnu Podil, has been revived in the upcoming budget. Under the Fiscal Equalization Grant, the government has allocated 58.67 billion rupees for the provinces and 87.35 billion rupees for local levels. Government has also allocated 35.72 billion rupees in conditional grant for the provinces and 191.89 billion for the local levels. Towards complementary grant, the government has allocated 6.22 billion rupees for the provinces and 7.05 billion rupees for local levels. Meanwhile, 4.46 billion has been allocated for provinces in special grants, while 8.73 billion rupees has been set aside for the local levels. The government expects the revenue sharing to figure at 173.92 billion rupees to the provinces and the local levels. The budget has allocated 83.99 billion rupees to health sector, 197 billion rupees for education and 131 billion rupees for physical infrastructures. With 11.96 billion rupees allocated for the tourism sector, 58.98 billion rupees has been allocated for the Ministry of Agriculture, Livestock Development. The government is to provide 30 billion rupees in subsidies to the farmers for chemical fertilizers. The budget has also declared of conducting feasibility study for medicinal use of marijuana. 1% of the total capital budget is allocated for research and innovation. The government has also declared of prioritizing the capital, technology, experience and skills of non-resident Nepalese. Having embraced the policy of scrapping a total of 20 entities, the government has also scrapped all forms of incentives. The government has decided to brand the water from the mountains and has plans to export gravels and stones. Meanwhile, if a contract is not signed for national pride projects within 9 months, the agreement is to be scrapped. Finance Minister Mahad has declared of reviving the national economy by making policy and procedural improvements. Moving on, the government has prioritized issues of public concerns, including social security, education and health. The government has allocated 197.29 billion rupees for education and 83.99 billion rupees for health for the upcoming fiscal year. The budget allocated for health for the upcoming fiscal is relatively less than the amount allocated for the ongoing fiscal year. The government has prioritized upgrading the quality of community education and life skills. Retaining children at schools has been prioritized alongside agriculture-related practical education. Having announced ensuring the management of the Child Development Center, the government has also prioritized teaching and learning in mother tongue languages. The government is to restructure the University Grant Commission, ensure research-oriented higher education and prioritize technical education as well. The budget has allocated 83.99 billion rupees for health sector. A total of 98 kinds of medicines and vaccines along with basic health services are to be provided for free. All federal hospitals are to make arrangements for kidney transplant, while the budget has stressed on making Nepal a tuberculosis-free country. The government aims to complete the construction of basic hospitals at 322 local levels. The budget announcement has also declared of expanding the scope of social security by ensuring the security of women, children and senior citizens. The budget has allocated 157.73 billion rupees for social security program. 8,710 million rupees has been allocated for communication and information technology. The government plans to expand broadband and 4G services across the country and has decided to lift the ceiling on foreign investments on information technology sector. Government has also announced of its plans to raise the use of internet and mobile applications for financial transactions. Finance Minister Prakash Mahad also announced that companies could register themselves online and that no fees would be imposed while raising capital. The budget also includes plans to implement electronic system for land-related works. Now, in our Public Voice segment, today we've asked people in several provinces how can the government ensure effective implementation of its budget commitments. Let's take a look at what they had to say.
Public Voice.
आर्थिक वर्षको अन्त्यमा आएर मात्र काम गर्ने मानसिकता हट्नुपर्छ।
सम्बन्धित निकायले समयमा नै कार्ययोजना बनाएर कार्यान्वयन गर्नुपर्छ।
राज्य पक्ष अलिकति संवेदनशील हुनु जरुरी छ।
तिनै तहका सरकारहरू मिलेर अगाडि बढ्नुपर्छ।
कार्ययोजना बनाएर कार्यान्वयनमा विशेष ध्यान दिनुपर्छ।
आर्थिक वर्षको अन्तिमतिर मात्रै त्यस बजेटलाई लागू गर्ने हो भने त्यो सफल हुन सक्दैन।
नेतामा इमानदारिता हुनु पर्यो।
जनताको चाहिँ मागलाई सम्झन हुनुपर्छ।
सही काम गर्नको निमित्त चाहिँ त्यहाँ चाहिँ सबैको चाहिँ निगरानी हुन आवश्यक देखिन्छ।
अनियमितता नगरिकन नियमपूर्वक काम गर्नुभयो भने बजेटको कार्यान्वयन हुन्छ।
असमसन्तोषमा पुग्न नपर्ने चाहिँ एउटा खालको नीतिगत निर्णय र बाध्यकारी कानुन बनाइयो भने पनि बजेट कार्यान्वयन हुन्छ।
भ्रष्टाचार हुनु भएन। यथार्थ बजेट आउनु पर्यो र त्यो बजेट चाहिँ फिल्डमा पुग्नु पर्यो।
कुन खर्चमा कति बजेट विनियोजित गर्ने भन्ने कुरामा चाहिँ अलिकति ध्यानपूर्वक रूपमा बजेटलाई कार्यान्वयन गर्न सके।
Prime Minister Pushpa Kamal Dahal has stated that unity and cooperation is needed among political parties and the public for the institutional development of republicanism. Speaking at a special program organized on the occasion of Republic Day today at Army Pavilion at Kathmandu's Turi Hill, Premier Dahal said that the foundation of national unity will strengthen only if there is common and stable thinking between political parties and the public. Prime Minister Dahal also claimed that democracy and republicanism will not be justified until there is significant improvement in the standard of living of the general public. At the event organized on the occasion of Republic Day, the Nepal Army, Nepal Police and Armed Police Force exhibited their skills and ability through various activities presented at the program. The President, Vice President, Prime Minister, among other high-ranking officials were present at the special function held at Turi Hill. It's time now for our segment Public Pulse, where you text us with your opinion.
Public Pulse.
But before today's question, let's take a look at the results from yesterday's poll. Yesterday, we asked you what could be the reason for the state-owned corporations incurring losses. 68% voted for option A, recruitment center for political cadres, 26% for B, incapable management, and 6% for C, impact of recession. And here's today's question. Why have public expectations not been met even after 15 years of republicanism? Your options are A, irresponsible leadership, B, traditional mindset, and C, requires patience. The voting is on. Type NEWS, select your option A, B, or C, and send it to 34001 to share your opinion with us. Now, former lawmaker Reshamlal Chaudhary, who was behind bars at the Delhi Bazaar jail for the past 5 years after being found guilty of involvement in Kantipur massacre, has been released today. Reshamlal Chaudhary has been released a day after being granted presidential pardon by President Ramchandra Podal on the occasion of the Republic Day. President Podal had issued amnesty to 19 individuals, including Chaudhary, yesterday and curbed the sentence of 482 other inmates. At the recommendation of the Ministry of Home Affairs, a meeting of the Council of Ministers had recommended the President to issue Chaudhary a pardon. Relatives and supporters had reached the Delhi Bazaar jail earlier this morning for the release of Chaudhary, who then reached the ministerial residence with garlands and musical band, where his spouse and Minister for Land Management, Ranjita Shrestha, resides. After exiting from the minister's residence, Chaudhary addressed a corner assembly at Maitighar before leaving for Nepalganj. Resham was jailed after being found guilty in the Kantipur massacre, where 7 policemen and a child were killed. The Kailali District Court and Dipayal High Court had slapped a life sentence on Chaudhary, while the Supreme Court had upheld the verdict. However, the government released Chaudhary using the right of the president to issue pardons. The government has claimed that the pardon was issued by following the legal procedures. Main opposition CPNUML and Rashtra Swatantra Party have termed the government decision against the law and have expressed their concerns. It's time now for the sports update.
Sports news.
Kumaltar Youth Club came from behind to secure a 2-1 win over Himalayan Sherpa at the Martyrs Memorial A Division League. Himalayan Sherpa found an early goal in the 6th minute through Khamir Gilsen Khangdanwa. However, Kumaltar equalized through Mesuke Olomeu in the 16th minute. It was the 16th goal for Mesuke at the A Division League. Mesuke could have marked his brace in the 67th minute. However, his penalty kick was saved by Sherpa custodian Kishore Giri. Kumaltar finally found the lead in the 76th minute as Stefan Binong's overhead kick found the back of the net. No more goals were scored in the match. With the win, Kumaltar have 24 points, while Sherpa have 29. In another A Division League match played today, Nepal Police Club edged past Friends 2-1. Now, the government has given continuity to previous projects while making public the budget for the upcoming fiscal year 2023-24. Although raising the standards and construction of 6 cricket stadiums were in priority, the government has targeted to complete previous projects. Finance Minister Mahat informed that only the standards of the TU cricket ground in Kantipur would be upgraded, and majority of the previous projects are in priority. The government has the aim of installing floodlights at the TU cricket stadium to upgrade the stadium to international standard. Budget has been allocated for the construction of the stadium at Mulpani Cricket Ground, like in previous budget, as well as for the Gautam Buddha Cricket Stadium, Dhangari Fapla Cricket Stadium, Morang Biratnagar's Girija Prasad Koirala Memorial Cricket Ground, and Kathmandu's Subarna Samsher Cricket Ground. Moving on, national men's cricket team captain Rohit Podal has said the team's first goal at the ICC One-Day International World Cup qualifier would be to reach the Super 6. The global qualifiers is beginning from 18th of June in Zimbabwe as 10 teams are participating. Nepal national cricket team are leaving for South Africa tomorrow for practice match. Nepal will also play warm-up matches with Scotland and the Netherlands before going to Zimbabwe. Nepal had produced an impressive 11 victories out of 12 remaining matches of World Cricket League 2 to book its place at the global qualifiers. Nepal also clinched the ACC Men's Premier Cup to enter into Asia Cup. Skipper Podal has said the national team is looking forward to playing with test nations. At the World Cup Global Qualifiers, Nepal is in Group A along with Zimbabwe, West Indies, USA and the Netherlands. Group B has Ireland, Sri Lanka, UAE, Oman and Scotland. Top 3 teams of each group will enter into Super 6, of which 2 teams will book their place in the World Cup to be held in India later this year. Rohit was announced brand ambassador by Gen Next Consulting Group today with a contract term of 1 year. Rohit said government appreciated players during victories. However, it was the private sector whose support motivated the players in other times. It's time now for the weather update. That is all for the moment. Thank you for watching. Good night.